How to get faster at Big Blind. Probably the best thing you can do to improve your centers is to start doing sighted solves, so not memorizing, just using the commutators you would normally do in a blind solve but in a sighted solve. What this does is this helps you practice the setup moves for all of the center cases, especially the more difficult ones. It'll increase your confidence with the method and it will improve your turn speed. Done that, start learning these very useful and very fast speed optimal cycles for centers. For example, this one, from your buffer to this position on the front face to this position on the down face. And then start doing the same for algorithms where the case is on the back. So buffer to this position on the back face to the same one on the down face. Where you have buffer to the same position on the front to this position on the back. And then start practice doing the same sorts of algorithms on the left and right faces as well. So I would do a setup here to the exact same alg, and it actually cancels into a 9 mover. In this wide turn case, you can just do an F move, but it's useful, and I'll show you why. Here to here to here. It's useful because in cases like this, here to here to here, where the setup move isn't particularly easy to do or it's quite long, I'll just do a rotation and do the same thing. If you're moving on to 5 blind, then the next step is to start exploring these types of commutator cases on T-centers and big cubes. So for example, here to here to here, looks like this. And also the case we discussed earlier, looks like that. Know them already, start learning all the advanced R2, advanced M2 cases. So for example, this target here can be set up to an easy R2 by putting it in the R2 position and then doing regular R2, M2 as usual. Similarly, this target on top can be done with a U move, so it can be solved with just R2 and solved as normal. And also cancels into a 9 mover. Okay, this target here on the right can be set up with a B move, so it can be solved with just an R2, and then the other target can be solved as normal. Just remember to undo the setup. Similarly, this one at the back, down back, can be set up with a B2, and then the rest solved as normal. Alg to know is Matt Sheeran's really awesome per special alg. So here to here to here. Saves you a lot of time. And if you want to do the inverse, when you see it written down, you just do the U2 move first and cancel it at the end, like that. And you'll go back to the same case. With that one, start learning all the variations and shortcuts for other cases. For example, here to here can be set up with a U prime, start executing the alg again, and instead of finishing on a U2, it'll finish with the same setup move that you started with. Longer cases, you can use the exact same alg, you just do a setup move and cancel into the alg. So I will do an L, a wide L in this case, which sets me up from here to here to here, and start executing. And it cancels. It's worth learning and just practicing lots of these different variations and just exploring them yourself until you're comfortable. For example, here to here to here is also very useful by doing an L wide prime, so that sets up there. Oops. You'll save a lot of time and moves, plus it looks pretty damn cool. Start doing sighted solves using your BLD techniques that you've picked up so far in doing sighted solves without memorizing. It's really useful for getting familiar with all the useful cases, if you're practicing commutators as well, especially. Here's another case if you want to learn this as well. Here to here to here, where two targets are on the same edge, I'll often set up to a position up here and do this alg. And you'll see they're both solved, and put it back. For midges, you don't need to learn anything different. You can use M2 or advanced M2 and it will be center safe. But if you do want to start using the cool 4 movers, 5 movers, freestyle commutators on your midges, just be aware that some of them aren't center safe, as I'll show you here. As you can see, that's moved to here, and you'll get your centers wrong if you're solving edges first. On doing edges first, learn 8 move commutators that are center safe for those types of cases. Like this 8 mover, which goes from here to here to here. M, D2, M prime, U2. Twice. Plenty of good resources on speedsolving.com and the Speedsolving Wikipedia page, and also I've written a few articles myself on how to memorize faster, how to use sentence memorization for letter pairs. So there's plenty of stuff already there, but in a nutshell, if you want to get down to around 1 minute or 1 minute 30, maybe up to 2 minutes for 4 blind memorization, then you're going to need to push the memorization quite hard until it's fairly uncomfortable to start with, but your brain needs to adjust to this new speed, and you're going to DNF more, you're going to make more mistakes and forget things, but that's part of the process. In the long term, your brain will adapt, and this new speed of memorization that you're going at will become natural and more comfortable. Start learning multiple words for each letter pair if you can. This will come naturally if you're memorizing on the fly, if you're making things up on the go. So for every case I have usually a noun, a verb, and a maybe just like a descriptive word. So this one, J-E, I have multiple words, so I could picture Jesus Christ, or I could picture somebody else in the memorization shouting Jesus, or I could memorize somebody crucifying, putting somebody on a cross, for example. Or if I wanted somebody to look like Jesus, I would say the person in the previous letter pair has a long beard or a long robe or something like that. Just be very creative with your letter pairs. This is the case for 4 blind as well, but another top tip is to start reviewing less and less. You don't need to revise what you've learnt or memorized 3 or 4 times in a particular solve. If you're doing 5 blind, for example, you just need to trust your memorization. It's probably a lot better than you think it is. And the less time you can revise, the more time you can dedicate to actually memorizing the pieces, and this will bring your solve times down in the long run, and it will basically make you a lot better at memorizing. You'll rely less on your reviews and you'll become a lot better.